good afternoon, booktube, or good day, depending on where you are in the world. Just wanted to do an impromptu video, just because I just happened to be glancing around my shelves and just saw it and thought, just in case people haven't seen it before. I think I might have shown it previously in a video, which has long since been removed from YouTube. But yeah, just how. So as you can see, that is the Penguin Library edition of Persuasion by Jane Austen. It's quite nice. It's quite it's kind of like a matte finish, but it's also got like is it felt? Is the way to describe it, like a felt feeling to the actual paper itself on the cover. But that is a standard book, and then I just feel like every now and then, depending on certain books and certain feelings you get from books, where you wish the immersive element was a bit greater. Recently, my wife got a Kindle, and she's been reading quite a lot of romance genre books, or romantasy, or whatever the term might be. But then in one of them recently, there's lots of extra things. I've noticed there's lots of bonus chapters you can download and tag onto the book. Or if it's a series, there's like a 1.5 or a 2.5, and there's effectively a short story or a novella in between that can be wedged in relatively easily. But yeah, in one of these, it was one of the characters happened to be a singer-songwriter, and as just an extra media element, they'd hired a singer, a performer, who had performed the two songs that were actually referenced in the book. So you could go to them, find them, listen to them. One of the songs is called Photosynthesis. The name of the person escapes me. I'll add it to the comments. But needless to say, it was just an enriching element that I think is quite interesting to do. I think it lends itself very well to the ebook element of it. I don't dabble in that myself, but the ability to just follow a link somewhere and then listen to that thing potentially, or whatever it is, strikes me as very interesting. But back to the topic of Persuasion by Jane Austen, and I also happen to have a Chronicle Books edition of it, which is called a handwritten classic, I think is the other type of name for it. So it is the complete novel featuring the characters' letters and papers written and folded by hand. So this is obviously Persuasion by Jane Austen, Chronicle Books San Francisco. It's curated by Barbara Heller. And it is, we can just scooch that over, an oversized edition that won't even fit on the screen, as you can see. So the book, it actually stops there because the binding goes quite a way into it. And the gapping that you can see are instances of, if I can find one to illustrate the point. There we go. So I'm just trying to find an appropriate one. Oh. So you'll come across pages like this, where there is the text of the story. And there we go. My dear Anne, I make no apology for my silence. And then if we reach into the paper sleeve, I just don't want to lose this page so I don't lose where it is. We have a handwritten Miss Anne Elliot, Camden Place, by hand. And we have the illusion of a wax stamp, and it's quite cleverly folded. So we have, oh sorry, I just want to be very careful with it, because even though it's new, it's got, so there we go. I make no apology for my silence, because and I just think, as far as these types of elements go on certain books and things, I really am just baffled by why this isn't a more common occurrence, especially in. So this range covers, I think, Pride and Prejudice is also in the series. I think Anne of Green Gables, I think, was one of them. Little Women was another one. And I just think, as far as like not just your regular ephemera could go, but just out of interest, just the amount of things you wish. I wish I could hold that and read it. And it's not just limited to obviously characters' letters. There was I just saw in a brief flick through. Referenced leaflets. So this is a new and correct plan of the city of Bath, which is just a little map, which is quite brilliant. So I know in it's probably, is it probably more of a staple of the fantasy genre at large that you might include a map, because obviously you're dealing with world building. But with this, I just feel surely it could be scaled up. This is quite nice because, like I said, each one's done by hand, which is obviously very, very nice and a very thoughtful touch. But you're obviously then limited to your abilities to do that en masse to such an extent. But I feel like once the technique was down, even if it wasn't authentically done by hand, and it was just a very good replica of a replica, which is, well, it's not even a replica, because it's a whole cloth thing. So yeah, it's a complete fabrication. Anyway, I'm digressing there. Getting really carried away. Anyway, I just think, yeah, there's this whole extra media element that really doesn't seem to be that well exploited. Sounds like the wrong word, but it's an avenue that could be pursued more often, I believe. And I think especially with the idea of everybody, well, I say everybody, a lot of people now have a smartphone, have access to Spotify or YouTube Music. It just seems like, I don't know, am I missing it? I don't read a lot of contemporary fiction, so a question to community, is this done frequently? Are there QR codes to playlists, or things to put you in a particular mood to help read a particular section, or just the book in general? Is there background music? Like, sometimes I quite like listening to, I suppose the description would be lo-fi beats, is I suppose the description of it. Kind of ignorable, but rhythmic music. Which can just help take away the silence of the background. But yeah, I just wanted to know, because like I say, apart from The Hobbit, which I've got as like a very fancy HarperCollins edition, which has maps in it. And obviously things like I'm reading Lord of the Rings at the moment, which has maps in the front and the back and appendices, and things about the languages that are used in there that are made up by Tolkien and stuff like that. But that's in the book. I just wonder if there was anything almost extra sensory to give you a real, more physical and visceral connection to the story you're reading. Because if it feels like you're reading a letter from Captain, oh my god, his name's going to completely leave me. I'll let you fill in the blanks of that. Everybody's familiar with Persuasion anyway, I feel like. But yeah, it was just that to know, am I missing out on a whole wealth of literature with benefits, to use a common thing? Not Netflix and chill type benefits, but you know what I mean, where there are these extra things. Obviously, not every book can be oversized and this and the other, but music is an obvious key element that could be done and curated. Ephemera, like the letters and stuff like that, and reproductions could be done. I don't know what else you could go to. You could even go down to route of something like, I don't know, especially when it's older literature, I suppose. If somebody's had a lock of their hair, would it be weird to have I don't know, horsehair, something equivalent, like that would be in a little keepsake type thing? Anyway, that's random, rambling, blue sky, out of the box stupidity thinking. But yeah, that was it. It was just a quick questions in the community. Is that something that's out there? Can you recommend any? I'd just be intrigued to see what there is. Thank you, BookTube.